Hello guys, welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to go over my Packers 2022 mock draft. And the Packers got a couple of picks, but I am doing the NFC North as the first division. So I am just going to continuously go out throughout all the teams. But Packers are a very interesting team, as they're going to probably have a lot of people leaving free agency, but in turn they might get a couple people back in free agency that are quite crucial to their franchise. But straight out of the gate, number 28, their first round pick, is going to be used on Devin Lloyd, linebacker, Utah. See, though, Devin Lloyd is very physical at the line of scrimmage. He can be a pass rusher, he can be multiple things. Now, I would say he mainly exceeds in man coverage. And yeah, I said man coverage because he's taller, he's more physical than most of the people in this class, and he can line up against a tight end and really just attack and not be burnt down the field or overpowered like some linebackers are by some tight ends. And he'll play great, I'm sure, for the Packers, as he could get mentored by multiple guys. But at the same time, the Packers really haven't hit on a first round pick in a while, so I'm not too set in stone, I guess, on this pick, as he's not really the best player in this position, but he's at a position of need, which you kind of go for not BPA as in best player available, rather than player positional value, so PPV as player positional value. And he really has a lot of PPV, and that really would help the Packers. Number 59, it's Kingsley Enagbare, edge out of South Carolina. I could see him being sort of a Brian Burns of the second round, as he kind of has all the same traits and everything like that. And really, I think he would exceed at the NFL level, as they're probably going to cut Preston Smith, trade Za'Darius, so they're going to cut both of the guys. I don't see a way that they can trade Preston Smith. No one's going to want to take on that contract. But Kingsley is going to be great for the Packers, I would presume, if they were to take him. And I think he could rise into the first round of mock drafts by draft season. And by draft season, I mean in April. And yeah, I think he would be a great addition, and I'd be really excited to see him, out of all people, just go to a team that really needs the position, so he will get playing time right away. Number 92, got Calvin Austin. He's a receiver out of Memphis. Memphis being a smaller school, so you're kind of taking a risk here on a guy like him. But the upside here is massive, as you're probably getting rid of Devontae, so and MVS and Allen Lazard, so you really don't have a veteran there. So Calvin Austin is going to be there with Amari Rodgers. You're probably going to cut Randall Cobb, so it's just going to be a young, wide-out core. And that could be great for many reasons, as they're young and developable, but it could be bad for many reasons, as they don't have experience in clutch situations, which can cause you having inexperience and losing games. As it's not like Amari Rodgers saw a lot of playing time last season, so I don't really think they're going to use him as a pure receiver now if they didn't use him last season. Compared to Calvin Austin, I'd rather play Calvin Austin over Amari Rodgers, as Calvin Austin is just a better receiver in my mind, as he can even play running back, but obviously they don't really need him to, as they have Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. Number 130, Jalen Watson. He's a corner out of Washington State. He recently transferred to Washington State, as I believe he was with actually Washington, like just the actual college Washington. And Now he's at Washington State. So, I mean, he really didn't really go far, but he gets a lot more playing time here at Washington State, and we've seen his developmental skills as he's become an elite press corner, at least against those, smaller school receivers, which I guess, that could cause some people to look better. Like, obviously, if you put Xavier Rhodes on these D2 college receivers, he's probably going to lock them up, but Jaylen Watson, I think, is going to be a steal of a draft pick for whoever gets him, and I think he'd be able to excel at the next level. And I really just think he'd be a great corner for Washington State for the next couple of years if he decides not to come into the draft this season, but signs are all pointing to him coming into the draft as a lot of teams need corner depth and maybe even a third-string starter. So, I really think Jaylen Watson would fit well for the Green Bay Packers. Number 139, we got Tyrese Robinson. He's an inside offensive lineman out of Oklahoma. You see that stance right there in the picture? That kind of depicts a guard. And he was very physical at Oklahoma. He just really wouldn't let anyone get past him. He was an anchor there. And guard is probably the easiest lineman position, because center you gotta get up, hike the ball. Tackle, you really just can't let anyone get out of the edge. But guard is also very valuable. But it's very valuable in the run game, especially. And that is what Tyrese Robinson does well. He blocks well in the run game out of most things. That is what he does the best. And I really think he would exceed at the NFL level by just being a rotational guard, not a set-in-stone starter right away, but so he can develop behind Elgton Jenkins and multiple other players like Billy Turner. And I really think that'd be beneficial to him in his long-term career, which is what the Vikings are doing with Wyatt Davis, who was the third-round guard out of Ohio State, who I think will play well, but we have so many veterans at depth on the offensive line, and I think that's what the Packers are probably going to do too. Number 170, Zach Tom, offensive tackle, Wake Forest. Zach Tom was kind of an anchor there for Wake Forest in his first season there, but he, in his second season, didn't play well, and now in his third season there, he played well again, so he's very inconsistent. But I'd be very excited to see him actually get a lot of playing time right away, as I think he could really benefit from that experience early, as he's a great run protector, but pass protection, he needs some work on his pass protection, which I think David Bakhtiari could really help him with, as David Bakhtiari is the second highest paid tackle in the NFL, and it's not even an understatement that he is the best tackle in the NFL. So Zach Tom, I think, could learn a lot from David Bakhtiari, but he would play right tackle instead of left tackle, so that would be a big transition for him, and just get even into the pro level. Number 225, Michael Woods, wide receiver, Oklahoma. He did play, I believe it was at Ohio State, but he didn't get a lot of playing time, so he transferred to Oklahoma. Well, he actually got a decent bit of playing time. He was sort of a rotational guy, which is what I think the Packers would use him as he's a physical receiver, which is what they need to replace Allen Lazard. And he has actually decent route running, which is something Allen Lazard didn't possess the best, I guess. But I really think Michael Woods would be a steal at 225, and he just so happens to fall in the draft to them. As, a lot of people drop in the draft. As, it's like Laramie Tunsil, for example. He was supposed to go like number 2, and then he flashed like a gun or something in a video, but he wasn't in the NFL, so they couldn't really do much, so he slid in the draft till number 10 to the Dolphins, and he's still translated to be a great player. And Michael Woods, I'm not going to say that he's going to do that, but I really think he will slide in the draft, and the Packers will pick him up out of the draft as a rotational receiver, not a pure starter right away. Last pick here for the Pack. Number 246, Darrell Baker Jr. He's a corner out of Georgia Southern. The only drawback with Darrell Baker is the fact that his press is very bad, as he really has like no weight on him, and he's kind of a smaller corner. But he's a more strong corner, if that makes sense. He doesn't really weigh a lot, so he could get pushed over, but he's strong. So I kind of compare him to a Jeff Gladney type of corner, as Jeff Gladney was kind of the complete opposite. He was great at blitzing and great at man, but sucked at zone, as we saw in the NFL in his first season. And Darrell Baker's the complete opposite of that. He's pretty good at zone, but really bad at man, but he can blitz. So their coverages are kind of flip-flop, but Darrell Baker Jr., I think, could learn a lot from Jaire Alexander, even Eric Stokes at this point, and they could bring in a veteran in Bryce Callahan or Kyle Fuller, among all guys that are in this corner free agent class. And I really think Darrell Baker could learn a lot for the Packers and play a lot for the Packers in his sophomore season. A lot of guys have a sophomore slump, but I think he'd have a sophomore fantastic season. But it doesn't rhyme, but still. I'm not using alliteration here in football talk. But alright, that is the video. Hope you enjoyed. Hopefully see you next time. Bye.